September 11th, we are remembering the thousands of people who lost their lives in the terrorist attacks in New York City. And we're also honoring the thousands more who put everything on the line to not only escape the wreckage, but help those who couldn't help themselves. Joining me now is one of those men, Mike Dempsey. Mike, thank you for being with us.
Appreciate being here, Barbara.
It is a solemn day. It is an important day to remember and to reflect. The first sentence on your website says, "Resiliency defines your journey." Can you share with us about that day and what you've been through since then?
It was a rough day for a lot of us. A lot of us went through trauma, PTSD. Our lives were never the same again. You know, you live through an event like that, horrific as it is. There's physical scars and there's mental scars. So a lot of us have had our own journey. There's no one-stop shopping. So really for me, it was a journey to find my helpers. I found a lot of helpers over the 22 plus years that we've lived this journey. Oklahoma City bombing survivors helped me. I've had families from different walks of life that have helped give a hug. They're not mental health therapists, but they provided some sort of comfort. Yeah. And for me, now I pay it forward. So I've helped out Parkland families, other shooting survivors from different walks of life, because I want to help them, because I was helped 22 years ago.
Now, I know you've told this story before, and it might be hard to do it, but kind of walk us through what happened on that day, September 11th.
Yeah, I was at my office at Credit Suisse, First Boston and 5 World Trade Center. Plane obviously hit the first tower, evacuated, looking for my wife, who is supposed to be on Tower 100th floor. She was late to work.
What did she do?
She worked in Marsh McLennan. She was a benefits administrator, and she was on the subway, had missed her train, Long Island Railroad,
wow.
And had a lot of stories like that on 9/11 where people were just late to work.
Yeah.
We couldn't communicate when the first plane hit. Cell phones, as you know, weren't working very well. I went into the Tower 1 lobby. I saw the glass blown out. Did not know a plane hit the building, by the way, so did not have TVs. We didn't have all this stuff on our phones, so had no idea. Thought it could be a bomb. Orderly evacuation, but the Tower 1 scene was pretty chaotic.
Do you remember, like,
oh yeah, images.
What it smelled like, what it sounded like? What do you remember those images?
I remember the firefighters just arriving around 9 o'clock. By the time I got there, 3 minutes before the second plane hit, I couldn't get a cell phone signal on the old, I think it was a BlackBerry back then. I think when we had the Crackberries, Blackberries.
Oh yeah.
And so I went outside, I went past the Chase and all the Disney store, went out by 2 World Trade Center, Liberty Street in Greenwich, which was a safe spot. It was on the other side of the impact of the first tower, and then the second plane hit, and it was right over my head. Don't remember anything from that point till about 9:30 in the morning. So how long I lost consciousness for is a matter of accounts on the hospital records. But
you got trampled? Is that what happened?
I was trampled, pushed down, but I was found, the remarkable part of my story was found in City Hall Park. City Hall Park is about 2.5 blocks from where I was injured. So who got me to safety? Never found out that part of the story. I was taken to Beekman, NYU downtown. And then because I had a fractured skull, other internal bleeding issues, they took me to Mercy Medical in Rockville Center. That's where I was for 3 days. So we call that a traumatic brain injury. You know, I've had some issues with that over the years, but yeah, the physical scars, you know, were there, but then the mental scars of, I had lost a lot of friends who worked for Cantor Fitzgerald. I almost took a job working there before 9/11. Now every year I help out in their annual charity day. They do every year to pay back money to other charities. They donate all their commissions every year. Howard Lutnick and his sister Edie, all the Cantor folks, and they donate to different charities, $12 million every year pretty much, which is incredible.
So you were working in New York, born and raised in New York,
yep.
And then your company, after the terrorist attacks, moved you to North Carolina. Your wife and your daughters came with you,
correct.
And you've been living here ever since. The interesting thing, you also survived the Las Vegas shooting as well.
Yep.
And so I believe reading something about you felt like maybe God wanted you to pay something forward, your survival and your experience, that maybe you can help others?
Yeah, I think there's a resiliency. That's like the website. There is a comeback story. We have a setback, we have a comeback. Vegas took me back to a very dark place. I was there filming a TV show called Tanked with my friend Brett, and ended up in the middle of a scene that you could not even believe, a mass shooting. I don't even follow country music, and I ended up at the Mandalay Bay Hotel right in the middle of that chaos.
Wow.
That can only happen to me, right? But it was, you could say I'm unlucky or you could say I'm lucky. I consider myself lucky.
You're sitting here, and I believe you're lucky. You're able to tell your story.
Yep.
If you were to advise anybody watching out there how you think today should be spent, what people should do to reflect, and there are generations now that weren't there when it happened, what would your advice be?
I think remembering our heroes. And one thing I'm doing Friday, first thing I do when I get up to New York Friday, it's Yankees Old Timers Day weekend. Bringing a lot of the Yankees Old Timers to Engine 40, Ladder 35. They lost their whole squad that morning. Ray Pfeiffer was one of the guys who we lost a couple years ago. That firehouse means a lot to me. We spend the whole afternoon there paying respect to those heroes that helped us. I don't know who the hero was who helped me when I was injured, but there was somebody. It could have been a civilian. It could have been a fire department, but we got to pay respect to the heroes.
Absolutely, and it's good that everybody can be somebody's hero.
And heroes helped Mike, now he's helping others. Thank you for that, Barbara.